What's going on YouTube? County Gains back here again. Today we got another huge video. Andrew Tate is back on Piers Morgan, take number 2. This one should be incredible, guys. Obviously Tate's the biggest star in the entire world as we speak. So I just reacted to the last 17 minutes on the last YouTube video, guys. Go check that out. I'm not going to react to it again because there's no point. So we got the last 35 minutes, guys. Let's get straight to it, man. Let's get it.
Andrew Tate, we'll be back with you after the break. We'll talk to you about Twitter again. Elon Musk restoring you to his platform. Has it calmed you down? Are you as controversial on that?
I don't think so.
Are you mindful that you're only one false move like Kanye West, for example, away from being removed again? Well, Elon Musk has restored a throng of banned accounts that's taking over Twitter with a sworn commitment to free speech. He's also shown he has a line of his own, though. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones remains banned. Kanye West was reinstated, then banned again for posting a swastika inside a Star of David. Andrew Tate is back too for now, anyway. He was first removed in 2017 for saying women should bear some responsibility as victims of rape, and he hasn't exactly been shy since his reprieve. Let's take a look. Genghis Khan had endless women and 200 children as a reward for conquest, he tweeted. I'm the most searched man on the planet. I've conquered Earth. I'm the highest status male on the planet. Females do not expect loyalty from me. They only expect that of lesser men. Then there was this. Imagine having less than 10 children because you're a who doesn't have 4 wives, genetic failures. Finally, if a girl follows me and she's hot and I see a single picture of her in a private jet, it's block. Women can't afford jets. Women are all brokies. Why are you flying around on some man's jet? You should have been a virgin when I met you. Haram. All right, Andrew Tate. Now, you're getting very near the knuckle with some of those tweets.
Am I?
You tell me.
I don't think so. I think people can understand they're semi-satirical. I think people can understand.
Do you mean them as jokes or do you mean them?
It's not that I don't mean them as jokes. I mean, they're a overall public commentary and observation. I do mean what I say. If I were to see a girl on a private plane on Instagram for...
Yeah, that's a huge red flag, guys. When you see women that have no jobs and then they're on a holiday every single weekend, never go near them, guys. Oh my lord, man. You guys would be cheated on more than that last friggin' World Cup game, guys. You guys would be cheated on a lot, man.
For example, I would assume that a man put her on that private plane. I would not assume she bought it herself.
What if it was...
Perhaps that makes me misogynistic.
What if it was Ariana Grande or Beyonce?
Well, that's slightly different, isn't it?
Why?
Because they're famous and very
They're
rich.
women?
Yeah, of course, and they're famous and very rich. But
so there are lots of women you wouldn't think that if you actually saw them on a private plane.
If I saw a 19-year-old girl from Moldova where the average wage is $200 a month and she was on a private jet, I would assume that with the balance of probabilities, considering I'm an adult, it's very likely because of her beauty, a man has put her on that private plane. Yes, if that makes me misogynistic instead of just perspicacious enough to understand how the world works, so be it. I'm a realist.
Should you be such a generalist about these things?
Well, you have to be a generalist when you're looking for in the balance of probabilities and trying to find balance in the world. You have to be a generalist. In general, if I stroke a lion, it's going to bite my hand. In general, there might be a nice one, but I don't want to find out. So that's how the world works.
You've praised the Taliban in the past. Would you do so again tonight?
The world is not black and white. The world is gray. It's very difficult to sit and make black and white assumptions about anything. To sit and say that the Taliban are completely and utterly evil and we're completely and utterly good, as you just discussed with the moral high ground. I believe that the Taliban bring law and order. It may not be the law and order we like, but it's a form of law and order, and humans usually gravitate
towards... What about
their
treatment of women? I mean, only tonight they have banned any women from going to university.
Fantastic. Let's get the feminists to go and teach them a lesson. The feminists are so tough, and they stand up and say they can do anything a man can do. Let's arm them up and send them to Afghanistan. I'm sure they'll fix it.
Yeah, but it's a serious matter, isn't it? That women don't get the education they deserve.
And that's a very serious answer. If women are just as capable as men in terms of combat, like feminists pretend they are, then they can go over there and they can deal with the Taliban.
A lot of women do go to combat.
Oh, exactly. So they can go deal with the Taliban. It's nothing to do with me. They can stand up and fight for their own rights.
Surely you wouldn't defend the Taliban banning women from university.
It's saying it's nothing to do with me, Piers. It's absolutely nothing to do with me.
What about the Afghan women?
It's nothing to do with me on any level.
You don't have a view?
I have a view. My view is that people naturally gravitate towards law and order. And if you didn't have the Taliban, you'd have different warlords operating in lawlessness. And there would be no way to prevent your store or your market stall getting completely robbed by someone with an AK-47. And people are going to gravitate towards a form of law and order. America left. They left a power vacuum, and the power vacuum is now full.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
Okay. Well,
but I do think the banning of women from university in Afghanistan is utterly horrific.
And I think the feminists are going to arm themselves. They're going to show us that they can do anything a man can do. They're going to go over there to combat, and they're going to teach Taliban a lesson.
So obviously Tate doesn't disagree with that, guys. He obviously thinks that banning women from university is bad before any of these weirdos come in the comment section. But what he's trying to say is, like, people should be basically standing up for their own problems, guys. If you have a problem and you stand up for yourself, don't be crying and, you know, getting everyone to do it for you guys. Get your own people to do it for you guys. If you're so, you know, big on a matter, you know what I'm saying?
Why can't you just say on that, you know what, it's completely wrong?
Because it's not my point. It's I don't understand.
But it makes me think. It'll make your critics think that you don't think it's wrong.
They could ban all men. They could ban all short
But they're
people.
not. They're only banning women.
Correct. They could ban all short people. They could ban all people with long hair.
And
none of it's anything to do with me. So they can do whatever they want. I'm not going to go to war with the Taliban.
But you've just literally spent an impassioned first segment comparing the way, for example, Dubai handles law and order
Correct.
to this country.
Correct.
So you do express views about different laws.
Absolutely. Both places.
So when I put to you a law that basically bans women from being educated, it's not, why is it a problem for you to say, you know what, it's wrong?
They're both places I've resided in, Dubai and London, so I have personal experience. I can give my personal opinion, but like I said, it has absolutely nothing to do with me with what the Taliban decide to do inside of Afghanistan. And if they decide that's the most prudent way to run their society, then we have two choices. We can either go over there and start another war that we shouldn't be involved in and waste a bunch of life, or we can sit and say it's up to them. They should govern themselves. They're people. We're no better than them, and they've decided to live their lives a particular way, and that's how they're going to live it.
Yeah, I don't know why Piers Morgan, he's on these interviews and he's always trying to deep dive into one thing always. He's just going hell for leather at one little tiny contention point. It doesn't even matter. He knows what he thinks. Just keep the conversation going, you know? He's not a very great conversationalist, you know?
Like I said, if feminists are very upset and they're very disgusted by the fact that in Afghanistan, women cannot go to school, I've been told repeatedly by feminists that they're just as capable as men in all realms, and I expect them to arm themselves and fly over to Afghanistan and fix it.
Like a lot of women have done in combat.
Good. Congratulations. Go fight. Well, this is the thing that's very interesting. Because when you talk about ideas, it's not even just about Afghanistan and feminism. When you talk about ideas, they must all be defended at some point.
That's true.
There has to come down to violence. The world is backed by violence. Nobody wants to talk about this. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a disagreement between two parties, eventually, if the disagreement continues, it ends up in violence. Feminism is defended by men. Men stand up and defend feminism, not feminists themselves, because they're incapable of violence. And we're in a situation now where you're saying that we should send men to go and fight for feminism. Why? It's not a man's problem.
No, I'm saying
that's kind of, I mean, in a roundabout way, he's basically trying to say, let's not go invading Afghanistan again. That was just a dumb as hell thing. 20-year war, 4,000 deaths of American soldiers for no reason, guys, just absolutely disgracefully. Basically saying we shouldn't go to war again, you know? That it's not a big enough deal or whatever. I mean, you know, if people have a problem with it, go fight it, guys. Like, if people have problems with things in life, man, you guys have to stand up for yourself and face it yourself, you know? I don't know, it's kind of a crazy take, but let's keep going.
I think men can be feminists too, because if feminism believes in equality for women, I'll sign up to it. I don't agree with radical feminists who hate men. Right? To me, the radical anything to me is a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think most feminism in the West currently is radical.
Well, some of it is, no question.
Absolutely, but this is my point. My point is that the Taliban are going to do whatever the Taliban decide to do. If I'm going to fly over to another country, I will respect their laws and customs. It's not my job to come along and tell other people how to live. I don't believe I have a moral high ground in that degree. And if people are genuinely upset and disgusted by it, the bottom line in most disagreements on the earth is violence. People who feel like they should go and fix it, then fix it with violence, then it can be the feminists who feel so outraged by it. But it's funny, they don't comment on these subjects, feminists. They seem to instead attack the Western male for some reason.
You deleted a video in which
That is true, guys. They never comment on the treatment of women in Afghanistan. They always just comment on how Western society is bad and this kind of thing. You ever notice that, guys? I noticed that on Twitter a lot.
Praised ISIS. Why?
I don't know which video you're talking about in particular. It might have been a video from a long time ago. But in general, I understand that, like I said, the world is not black and white. The world is gray areas. And Western imperialism as a whole has been causing more problems than it's ever fixed. And it's disgusting. And I don't know the exact video you're referencing. But sometimes when an underdog destroys a Western imperialist, I have a degree of, I wouldn't say satisfaction, but
satisfaction.
No, but there's certainly a degree of
the way ISIS.
I don't know the particular.
Themselves.
I don't know about the particular video we're talking about.
ISIS were one of the most deadly terror groups in the world.
Absolutely.
They committed a series of appalling atrocities, killing innocent people left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
How could you possibly have satisfaction?
Well, if it's the video I'm recollecting, if it's the video we're talking about, it's about the fact that I believed ISIS was funded by the West and created by the West in the first place. And it wasn't a degree of satisfaction like I'm happy ISIS exists. It was a commentary on the world.
Well, here's what you said. ISIS are the real Muslims because ISIS do exactly what the book says. Kill everyone who's not a Muslim and chop people's heads off and set them on fire and be raging lunatics. But all the other Muslims go, they're not real Muslims because I read the book, and ignore those parts. Well, then you're not an effing Muslim because you're ignoring the effing book.
That's an interesting point you've just raised, because I am now Islamic. And it's funny because I used to be an atheist, and when you're an atheist, you believe that religion causes more problems than it fixes, and then you come to a realization and you start to learn the truth of yourself and the truth of God, and you realize that religion is actually the cure for most of the problems in the world, and godlessness is the problem in the world. So that is something I will apologize for and admit I was wrong about, because I was atheistic, and now as a Muslim I understand that's absolutely not the case. If that's the particular video you're talking about, then there's...
Well, that's really interesting. So you regret saying that?
Yeah, because you learn and you grow and you evolve, as I said. At the time I believed it, because I didn't believe in God at the time. It was a very long time ago. It's actually kind of a testament to you, Piers. You managed to find the oldest possible videos of me that have ever existed.
Dude, Tate is just roasting him. You managed to find the oldest possible videos that ever existed of me. Oh my God, bro, he's just roasting.
It was a very long time ago. It's actually kind of a testament to you, Piers. You managed to find the oldest possible videos of me that have ever existed. But at the time I was atheistic.
Well, no, I was curious because you have recently converted to Islam.
Correct.
So these questions, I think, are pertinent to your conversion.
Absolutely.
As to what you actually believe as a practicing Muslim now.
Yeah, I believe that Islam is beautiful. I believe it's the last true religion on earth. It's certainly the last respected religion on earth. And I felt differently inside since I've converted. And I think it has the solutions to a lot of the problems we're facing in the world today. That particular video was once again satirical. A lot of people watching this would not have seen it. They would not have seen the joke element of it. It's fine. But
it's not funny, though, is it?
Well, you know, it's like most of the time, as we discussed in our first interview with me. Things are taken out of context, short form, etc., etc. But all in all, you could say the same things about Christians. If you were to read the Old Testament and say, stick to the Old Testament, you'd kill anyone who works on a Sunday. So it's not applicable to...
You wouldn't countenance violence.
Say again?
You don't countenance violence.
I absolutely do not countenance violence. When I was talking about violence being the bottom line the bottom line decider between disagreeing points of view, it's not I'm calling for violence. I'm just making a commentary on how the world genuinely functions.
But when you use a word like satisfaction, you understand that people will watch that and think, how can you possibly find any form of terrorism satisfying?
I don't find any form of terrorism satisfying. I don't find Western terrorism satisfying either. I don't think it's satisfying that we managed to find $500,000 per bomb to drop on some farmer who makes $4 a day under the name of freedom. And, and we can't seem to pay our nurses enough to do their jobs. I don't find any kind of terrorism. And it's actually very interesting. You talk about the word terrorism. Terrorist and freedom fighter, good guy and bad guy, all of this is subjective. There are people who believe that the West are the biggest terrorists on the earth. There are people who believe that America causes more wars than anyone else. And they've killed more people than anyone else. And there's people who believe the absolute opposite. So once again, it depends who you're talking to. It's a subjective conversation. There's no black and white in the world. There's areas of gray. And that's how it is. So I thought you were talking about another video where I was saying that ISIS are standing up and fighting for what they believe in. I'm not saying what they believe in is right, but that's what they were fighting for at the time. And it was a completely different video than the one you were actually referencing.
But you would condemn them now?
I don't condemn anybody doing anything bad to anybody. I'm not a person out here with a criminal record. I don't hurt anyone. I just spent my first segment on this show talking about how I believe in law and order and how important that is. I think people can operate inside of their lives.
Go check out that last video, guys. It's really good. The first 17-20 minutes, this is amazing.
On this show talking about how I believe in law and order and how important that is. I think people can operate inside of their lives safely and walk around. Man, woman, child can walk around in safety in any city they live in. How that law and order is constructed is not my jurisdiction. I'm not in charge of the law and order of Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, any of them. It's nothing to do with me.
I want to talk to you after the break about masculinity. Why is it that so many young men gravitate to you? What is your view of what it takes to be a man? Welcome back to the special edition of Piers Uncensored with Andrew Tate, one-on-one. So Ash Sarkar, who's a lively contributor to this programme, has tweeted, Andrew Tate, who you're interviewing about free speech, thinks women are a man's property. We shouldn't be allowed to drive. Boasts about only dating teenagers to imprint on them. Misogynists are discussing whether they're in Afghanistan or a swanky London studio.
Am I a misogynist, am I? I don't think, first of the things she said, I don't even truly believe. If you're prepared to listen to me, I'll explain to you exactly why she's completely and utterly wrong. If you can go through the points again, she said.
Do you think you're a misogynist?
Absolutely not. I'm not a misogynist on any level. This is one of those buzzwords they just throw at people randomly. Homophobic.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Like, just people just label people, and it's just like you're trying to demean them, and it's just dumbass. It's just being a dumbass.
I'm not a misogynist on any level. This is one of those buzzwords they just throw at people randomly. Homophobic, racist, misogynist. They just throw it out at people.
True. What is your view of women?
I'm a realist.
What is your real view of women?
I absolutely not only love women. I adore women. I have good relationships with women. Not a single woman has come up to me on the street since I've been canceled. Not a single one has said anything negative. Every single one of them has said positive things. You're a traditional male. I wish more men were like you. You understand your masculine roles. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand you're supposed to protect women. You're exactly the kind of man I'd be looking for. I've never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I've been dubbed the biggest misogynist in the world. Please let me finish. I'm sorry, Piers. Also, there's not been a single woman who's accused me of a crime. Not a single woman who's accused me of rape. Not a single woman who's come out and said anything from my entire past of 36 years I've done anything wrong ever. Anybody else with my level of fame, any footballer, any other movie star, at least has people who've come out and accused them of rape, X, Y, Z. I have no woman who's come out and ever said I've hurt her. No woman has come out and ever said I've done damage to her or been horrible to her. Everybody.
But all these weirdos on the internet, Instagram, on my feed are saying that he's a misogynist. I mean, just liars, guys. People are just jealous of hate, guys. Hate never comes from above, guys. You know, people are just jealous of it, of the love that he's getting. You know, sucks to be the people that hate other people, and I'd hate to be a hater, guys.
No woman who's come out and ever said I've hurt her. No woman has come out and ever said I've done damage to her or been horrible to her. Everybody who ever interacted with me has said I've been a nice person. All of them. Random Twitter nobody who seems to know so much is full of.
All right, you've responded to her tweet.
Yeah,
but here's where is the line for you between masculinity, which I will always defend, and which I agree with. I think a lot of women like men to be masculine, and what has become known as toxic masculinity. And the reason I ask you is that you are engaged in that debate with men all the time. Where is the line for you where men shouldn't cross, where the behaviour should be kept within a line?
Please define toxic masculinity.
Well, you tell me what you think it crosses a line from being a masculine, good man to a bad man.
There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine. Genuine masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call the police because of the problem you have, you want masculine men.
That's
and
true.
as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died. Those were masculine men.
Where did you get your views about this from?
This is what I grew up with. It's the family I grew up around. And
Your father, your mother,
yeah,
both?
and the world I lived in. And I think a lot of the things I'm saying now about masculinity and how people should act in the world, how the world should function, were considered completely normal and accepted by everybody only 20 years ago. I think
Yeah, like my mom used to tell me all this shit growing up, guys. My mom, and she's a woman, so
the world's just lost its mind. For me to stand up and say a man should protect a woman now gets to be called a misogynist and canceled. If I said that 10 years ago, everyone would say, duh. And what's funny is, everyone who argues against me and says men shouldn't protect women, especially all the feminists, if they were with their boyfriend and a man broke into their house, guess who they'd expect to go downstairs? Who do you think? Think they go themselves? Are they going to Afghanistan? No, we send men to do these things. So
well, we send women in the armed forces too.
You have to generalize when you make points.
There are many courageous people.
Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
No, but you've got to concede there are many courageous women serving in the armed forces.
Absolutely and utterly, completely correct. But by and large, traditionally, soldiers are men. Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
Well, it's not an exception. It's a fact that there are a lot of women now in the armed forces.
Correct. But if you were to take the average soldier, they are a male. If you're allowed to say who's a male and who isn't nowadays, I'm assuming their gender, I apologize. If you were to take the average soldier, they're a male, which means that exceptions are the female soldiers, which because there's a lower percent of them, a lower probability. Exceptions do not disprove the rules. Men do the fighting. Right now in Ukraine, men cannot leave. Women are allowed to leave because men have to fight in the front line and women are allowed to go to Dubai. That is how it is.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are.
This is very true, guys. If you do nothing, no one gives a shit about your opinion. Nobody pays for you to speak. Nobody cares about you. You know, if you're a chick and stuff, you can get away with a lot more. You're given value kind of on your looks and stuff like that. With guys, unless you do great things, no one gives a FUCK about you guys. No one cares about you. Straight up, guys. So.
And as you're born without value, society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. True. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible, and I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society, crying too much about everything.
Yeah, I was saying that just to my friend today. You know, he was like, man, you have a lot of energy. And I was like, yeah, I probably have ADHD heavy, but I'm not really like a super emotional guy. So like, that's kind of a good thing. But if you have ADHD and you're a very emotional person, it's actually a really bad thing, guys. Because your emotions then dictate how you feel, you know, and how your actions will take place. Like if you have ADHD, but you're just disciplined to do work out, do that kind of stuff, you're going to be good. But if you have ADHD and you're really emotional, you're crying about everything, you're just going crazy all the time, and it's not going to be a good day. It's not going to be a good day.
She got a point?
She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's.
That's very true, guys. We're going to replay that one because I want to, I want people to hear this really loud and clear. You know, if you're a philosopher, a lot of my friends that I hang out with nowadays are all philosophers, guys. They just talk about philosophy and different books and stuff to me and different things. You know, like basically philosophizing a lot. We're thinking, you know what I'm saying? If you're just this crazy dude who's acting on emotions and because you're hyped up on drugs and shit like that, you're a danger to everyone around you, guys. Like, don't hang out with those people, guys. Straight up, like, the shit's crazy, like.
You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects for and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely and utterly wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You're going
to feel bad probably a lot, guys. Like, you're going to feel bad a lot. You're going to feel bad working 15, 12 hours a day. I mean, I'm working a lot today. I'm working for the last 8 hours, pretty much nonstop. So you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna have shit days. You're gonna have it really hard, guys. But just kind of keep trooping on, and you'll be all good, guys. You know, don't think too much about things. You know, and you should be fine.
You'll be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You just suck it up and perform anyway.
Yep.
Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
Tough being a woman too in modern society.
It's certainly tough being a woman, but I'm not a woman, so why would I speak on issues I do not understand? I'm a man.
You can feel empathy for women.
I feel empathy, certainly, but I do not understand their issues.
See, a lot of men come up to me and they admire you. I've got to say, a lot of women I've spoken to don't admire. They think you represent misogyny. They think when they hear you not commit to saying the Taliban shouldn't be banning women from university education, well, why can't he just say that's wrong?
Well, firstly, that's not my experience. I experience the absolute and utter opposite of that. Secondly, it's because it's a moral point I'm making. My moral point is I speak on things I understand. I speak on experiences I've had.
But you believe in equality?
I speak on subjects I know intimately. I do not feel qualified. I'm a realist, and I do not feel qualified to sit and discuss the gender laws in Afghanistan. I have not been to Afghanistan. I have not researched the subject thoroughly. I'm not going to sit here and say how the Taliban should be running their country.
That's true.
It's nothing to do with me. I find it quite flattering, Piers, that although, I understand I'm monumentally influential, the most Google man on earth, etc., I find it very flattering that you think I have some kind of control over the domestic policy of Afghanistan.
Yeah, dude, people ask Tate these questions like he's some sort of all-powered god or something, like he's like basically gonna make the rule whether or not things should happen around the world. The guy's just, Tate's just a really rich guy for the most part, I'm saying, with a big following. Like, he doesn't really have much power to, dictate, geopolitics, all this kind of shit. It's just very, very strange, man. I don't understand. People come to him with these massive questions. It's like, he doesn't know the answer to this shit. I mean, for the most part, I would say, yeah, obviously, banning women from university is obviously a bad thing, right? But like, you know, he doesn't, like, no one's going to disagree with that. And like, he's making this point because obviously, you know, he doesn't want to give him the satisfaction of saying it, obviously, right now.
I find it very flattering that you think I have some kind of control over the domestic policy of Afghanistan. But I assure you I don't. I don't.
No,
so it's nothing to do with
I'm not asking you to have a view on having influence of a domestic policy. I'm sure the Taliban couldn't give a stuff what either of us say about it. It's just curious to me that it's an easy win for you to make women think you're not anti them, to say that when they're not given equality, as the women in Afghanistan clearly are not, because they're not allowed to go to university now as of today, that is clearly unequal, unfair. We should all be able to agree that that is wrong.
Well, certainly as a realist.
Even you, tough guy Andrew
It's
Tate.
not tough guy. I am a professional. As a professional, I can state that yes, it is not equal. Yes, it is not fair. That is obvious for anybody. I'm not saying those things are not true. What I'm saying is it's nothing to do with me.
Right, okay, but you made a concession you think is wrong then.
I said it's unequal and it's unfair.
Yeah, so wrong.
Well, perhaps.
Force yourself, Andrew.
No, perhaps it's wrong under certain moral guidelines, but under the moral guidelines which are currently in charge of the jurisdiction of Afghanistan, they don't believe it's wrong. It's nothing to do with me.
Well, then
I'm not going to sit here and tell other countries how to run their laws. I'm going to live in societies with
All right,
laws I
I'll take
respect.
you know what? I'll take unfair and unequal,
Sure.
because that's self-explanatory. We're going to have a game of chess in a minute after the break, because you are a very good chess player.
Here we go.
I can hold my own with the chessboard. Your father was a chess international master, in fact. And we're going to have a 5-minute game of speed chess. Winner takes all, Mr. Tate. Welcome back to Piers on Sense of Andrew Tate.
Here we go.
Andrew's
This
father
is
was an
savage.
American chess international master, and his son's pretty good at it too. Well, I can hold my own as my school chess champion. And with 5 minutes left on the programme, we're going to have a game of speed chess. Winner takes all. All right, well, you're white. Off you go.
It's racist.
Off we go. 5 minutes. Go.
That's racist, Piers. Cancel Piers Morgan.
Okay.
That's legendary.
Are you good, Piers?
Well,
Are you
clearly,
going to destroy me?
clearly from this opening, better than you.
Let's see, I guess, aren't we?
Okay. Let's be aggressive, shall we?
Oh, I don't know if this is going to end well for Piers Morgan, but I'm not
School chess champion, eh?
School chess champion? Bro, the trolling going on here.
School chess champion, eh?
It's tense.
Certainly.
Lennox Lewis was better than you when I played him.
Was he?
Well, he beat me 39 times out of 40. Check.
Yeah, he is pretty good at the game, I heard.
Time to get aggressive with you, Mr. Tate. Show you a bit of toxic chess masculinity.
Well, the world's been pretty aggressive with me lately, Piers, so I'm used to it. It's fine.
Oh, this is savage, bro. I'm not even going to lie, man. This is actually class. Like,
Okay.
everyone in the world wants
Oops, apologize.
Tate to win.
How long we got?
Why do you think the Queen...
3:45.
Why do you think the Queen gets to jump across the board and the King doesn't?
Because it's sexist.
The game of chess is sexist, but perhaps it reflects life, Piers. Haven't you ever thought that when you look at a yacht in Dubai...
You're running out of time. Stop stalling. I know what you're
Fine,
doing.
I'll just take your
Oh, God!
I'll just take your Queen.
Damn it.
I was trying to give you a little speech there. You didn't want to listen to it.
No,
I was
I
trying to
didn't.
tell you when you see a yacht in Dubai, the girl just gets an Instagram invite, gets to jump right on board. She
So
gets
listen.
to run across the board and do whatever she wants, but the man is to get there a square at a time. The man had to buy that yacht. That's the difference between being a man and being a woman. That's why the Queen gets to
Damn,
do what she
bro.
does.
A chivalrous man just always lets ladies go first.
Life and chess
That's why I let you go first.
Life and chess reflect, Piers.
I've made a catastrophic error, but I'm bouncing back.
Let's see.
He's not even looking at the board, bro.
I
Come
always
on.
accidentally take someone's chick.
3 minutes.
I don't even mean to. It's just like, oops.
You need to stop knocking my pieces over like some.
Doug.
Yeah, exactly. It's not getting in my head. They're talking to me saying you're getting in my head.
How do you think chess reflects life?
I think that it's all about strategy.
Correct.
That if you're good at chess, you can be good at pretty much anything because it's about thinking ahead. It's about planning. It's about relentless practice.
And you know what else is beautiful about chess? If you lose, somewhere you made a mistake. There is no luck.
Absolutely right.
In chess, even if it's the smallest mistake, somewhere it was your fault. It teaches absolute self-accountability,
Bro,
which
that's
is something
crazy.
that we need a lot more of in the world today.
That's
That
crazy.
is true.
And that's why chess is so important. You can take my knight if you want.
Okay.
You don't want it? Why do you want my knight?
Because I'm playing a long game.
Oh, okay. Thought you'd want it. I'm going to leave it there in case you take it anyway.
Okay.
I'm going to go.
Because I know what you want me to do, and I'm not going to do it. Actually, I will do it now.
Okay, good. Check.
Oh, damn.
Check. Check. Check.
Bro, you
How
might...
long? I need to buy some time here.
Damn,
I need to
bruh.
buy some time.
This is pretty...
This is really playing well on radio, by the way.
This is pretty brutal.
Damn it! I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
Don't say that.
How long have I
Piers.
got? 1
You
minute
need to
12.
Believe in yourself.
I never ever give up.
Believe in yourself,
I
Piers.
do believe in myself, thank you.
Self-belief is important.
Piers Morgan's the most British guy ever. I do believe in myself, thank you.
I do believe in myself, but this has not gone well. You're quite good at chess, I'll give you that.
Well, in the chessboard of life, I've done pretty good.
Ha, jeez. Bro,
I've done okay.
how can you not love Tate, man? This guy is just...
Check.
The question is, can you beat me in time? You've only got 50 seconds.
Check. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think you can.
Let's see. Mate in 2, Piers. Yeah, you can have that. Doesn't matter. It's mate in 2. Check. Mate. Good. Good game, sir.
Well played.
Thank you.
25 seconds away from safety.
Damn, bro.
Okay, well, Andrew Tate, I'll give you something. You're good at chess.
Thank you.
You have to be. You just beat me.
I know you're a internationally renowned
What has
player.
chess taught you about life, quickly?
I can teach you a lot of things. Like I said about the queen being able to run around the board, the king having to move a square at a time, about the fact you need to think ahead, absolutely everything is your
That's
fault.
crazy.
But there is a saying, which is actually one of my favorite sayings in the world. It said, a well-played game of chess is a sign of a gentleman, but an expertly played game of chess is the sign of a wasted life. And it's kind of sad. It was
I
said
played Lennox Lewis on Celebrity Apprentice 39 times out of 40 in America years ago. And he beat me 39 times out of 40, I mean. And I was amazed. He was taught by his mum. But he was all about the way he fought, the way he boxed, was all down to the way he played chess.
Yeah, chess.
It was all about looking ahead, getting ahead of your opponent, planning punches, all that kind of thing.
Chess absolutely reflects life. And even I say this now in my business meetings with my team. A lot of the problem in the world today, especially with teams and businesses, etc., everyone wants to be the king. But if you want to have a team, if you want to have a side that wins, if you want to win a game of chess, everybody has to know their role and do their role effectively. There can be a king and a rook and a pawn and a bishop and a knight, and everyone does everything correctly. And when that happens, you have a very formidable board and you're hard to beat. And chess reflects life absolutely. It's something I do every single day.
What kind of man was your father?
Crazy.
He was the greatest man on the face of the planet, but luckily he had me, and now in the natural order of the universe, he is gone, and I am here, and I carry his name, and it is my duty to bring honor to him. And this is one of the greatest things about achievement, because achievement honors your ancestors. People talk about my father because of how successful I am, and people will talk about me into eternity, even after my death, because of how successful my son will be. This is the great thing about achievement. It's an honor to your ancestors.
What would he have made of your success, your father?
He would be extremely underwhelmed by it because he always expected it of me. I am Emery Andrew Tate III. I can do whatever I put my mind to. And he would be like, well, of course, you decided you wanted to become the most famous man on the planet. It took you a few months, of course.
Does your mother ever do what my mother does and occasionally go, I think you went too far there?
My mother has absolute trust in my abilities and capabilities. She says, be careful, do your best, but you are the most capable and competent man on the planet. And
That wasn't the question.
That's what she says. She says, be careful.
Does she ever say you shouldn't have said that?
Nah. She knows better than that. Really? No, never. She says, just be careful. You know what you're doing. It's kind of hard to argue against me, and this is what my haters seem to struggle with. It's hard to argue against a person who is monumentally successful in every single human metric that can possibly be measured.
Money talks, man.
This is why young men respect me so much.
But do you ever tell your mother what to do?
They want to be my life.
Do you ever tell her what to do?
I don't need to. She's a full-grown woman.
Would you ever tell her what to do?
I would give her my advice if she asked for it.
You say you can't leave the home, you can't drive, all those things you joke about? Or?
I'd give her my opinion. I would say perhaps you should move house now, or perhaps that's not safe, or yeah, I would absolutely, because I am responsible for her safety. And when you're responsible for somebody's safety, you have an opinion, and you need to have a firm opinion on that subject. So completely. For any woman I am responsible for her safety, I will sit and say, that's an unsafe thing to do.
How much are you worth?
I'm a billionaire by now.
Dollars or pounds?
About dollars. We're not in pounds yet, but we'll get there soon.
So what to do?
Yeah, we have a little bit of work to do, but
Finally, I know you don't know anything about football and care even less, but greatest of all time, Ronaldo or Messi?
they're both two very hard-working men. I have absolute respect for anybody on earth who dedicates themselves to this.
Andrew Tate, thank you very much indeed. That's it for tonight. Keep it
I'm going to say Ronaldo.
uncensored like it was tonight.
Alright guys, keep it uncensored like it was tonight. What do you guys think of that interview, man? That was pretty heated. He let Tate talk a hell of a lot more, so that was probably one of the best interviews I've ever seen by them. Hope you guys enjoyed that, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what else to react to by Tate. Piers Morgan, he has a lot of interesting guests on his show, guys. I love you all, man, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.